the structure really is important, and once you have that foundation down, then you put the jokes in, then you put the details in, then you have fun, and then you can sheath the structure a little bit, move it around and that sort of stuff, so that it feels right. You know, because like you said, it's like if you get stuck on the structure, it does feel formulaic, but when you go, I know I'm supposed to hit this beat here, but it really wants to be this way instead, and then you just go with it. You know, you need it to feel right. That's the most important thing. For me, anyway. Everybody has a different process, but I'm a pretty...
I think your process is working pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I would like to take some questions from some of you people. I think you're going to run around and ask people for some questions. Because I'm sure there's things that you want to know. So you guys are just going to, what are you going to run out and, I see you're going to take the mic. I'm going to ask a couple more things then, just one sec. I want to know, and I asked Megan this in my EverFree interview, I want to know where yup came from.
From me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I had to fight for it too.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted him to talk.
Yep.
They wanted him to talk more, and I'm like, no.
Well, thank you.
I'm glad you like it. No, it was before I think it was before we even cast you. I wanted Big Mac. I was developing him as a character. I wanted the strong, silent type. I wanted Apple Bloom and Applejack to be the kind of characters who just never shut up. And as a contrast, they have this big brother who's kind of, doing the work and keeping the eye on stuff, and he just keeps his opinions to himself and short on words. It's his personality. So it's kind of a trope and maybe a little bit of a cliche, but it's a funny one, and I thought it was a great contrast to the rest of his family, so I pushed for it.
Yeah, and I remember...
I have a question. I have a question. The Snips and Snails character, were they based on any other comedy duos in the past?
I wish I could say they were, but no.
Well, they're just original then. That's wonderful.
Well, they're again, I think, another trope. You kind of, the smart alecky, fast talking one, and the kind of slower, dumber one. What's funny actually about those two is the original designs. Snips was the skinny one, and Snails was the bigger one.
Really?
Yes, we were asked to switch it. I think they turned out good.
All right, we now have some time for Q&A from the audience. So if you have a short, summarized, well thought out question that you would like to ask our panelists, please form an orderly line up here. We're going to come down and screen your question, and we will either tell you to stay or to sit down. Please realize our panelists have limited time, so don't take it personally if we do tell you to sit down.
While we're waiting for that to happen, is there anything else that any of you wanted to say, particularly as panel, while we're waiting for the question?
Oh, I just, when you were talking about Big Mac, I remember when Lauren and I were first talking about Big Mac, when she was telling me about his character, what I said, she's like, yeah, I want him to be the strong, silent type, and what popped in my head, and she said, with him saying, yup, and I said, oh, like Gary Cooper in the I Love Lucy episodes, when Lucy is imitating Gary Cooper. You don't see Gary Cooper in the episode, but he says, yep, nope, and that's, to me, and that's what Gary Cooper was. He was, this strong, silent type, and so that's what kind of connected when Lauren described who she wanted Big Mac to be. That was for me, how I imagined him in my head.
I must have saw that when I was a kid, and it just stuck.
Okay, does anybody have anything for Lee right away?
All right, we have a question.
Okay, Lee has to go. Say thank you to Lee Tokar.
No, wait, before I go, I want to say one thing, because I wasn't supposed to be on this panel. These people are why you guys are here, and I'm sure that no one has any questions for me, but by a show of hands, how many people are aspiring writers in this room? Look at all the ones that are online. That's great. If you have little tiny, funny little bits of scripts, I want to do some shameless self-promotion. send them to my website, litokar.com, and or my Facebook page on the fan build, and I'll hook you up with, we'll have them posted, and then all of the young voice actors that are out there can look at them, resubmit them, and the process begins. So thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me sit on the panel. I'm very honored to be with these people, and I'm very honored to be here in front of all of you. I gotta go and get ready, but I'll talk to you soon, and you guys are awesome.
So,
how do you
right into the mic, please. You gotta make, I know it
how
seems
do you
loud.
fit all the show and whatnot into just 22 minutes? Because there's so much story to tell. How do you pack it all?
How do you pack it into 22 minutes?
I can try to answer that. Well, I think that goes back to what Lauren was talking about with structure, is knowing that you need to hit these certain beats, and knowing how much time you have to do so really helps with that. And it's kind of interesting that a lot of what, to me, writing is what you don't see. The off-screen, I've heard it called like the off-screen movie or the off-screen show, is being able to enter a scene as late as possible and leave as soon as possible. So it's really choosing how to get the most information out there in just these sort of bite-sized sort of scenes. And I feel like that's what most of the work, that is most of the work, is what am I actually going to show in these scenes, and what can I just leave out and it'll still make sense to everybody. But having that foundation of, okay, this inciting incident is what it's called. This is the thing that kicks the story off. Here's where the act break is going to be. We're going to go into a commercial here, so we need to have sort of a cliffhanger. And then when we come back, you're going to do the same thing at the end of the second act. So you have those markers, and that guides you.
Yeah, and we have pages that we're trying to hit. And for me, it's always a matter of, it's like a puzzle. And can I fit all the pieces of the puzzle together? And okay, this piece, I really want it in there, but you know, it really doesn't fit. And I gotta, you go, okay, gotta throw that piece away. I gotta move this around so that you can get into that,